So let's have a look at the materiality calculation. Now, just before this, we created a new file, we picked a profile, the OneForm profile, and now we will, after that we imported a trial balance. We mapped the trial balance, so all my accounts are nicely classified. Now let's go on and let's have a look at the materiality calculation. Okay, so for any audit, this is quite a crucial document, so we'll take our time to go through it. At the beginning here you see a table where you can document the principal users of the financial statements. And let's just move on a bit now. Then the first table, number A, is for the overall materiality. And it also shows you the balances, the key amounts, income before tax, gross revenues, and something else like assets, on which you will base your materiality. Now what you might notice right away is that the preliminary amount is empty and only the final amount is calculated. This is on purpose. The final amount will always show the actual balance that's in the working papers working trial balance. So if you post adjusting journal entries or if you re-import a newer version of the trial balance that you receive from your client, that amount will be shown here in final. So it's real time, it will always change. For your decision, for your preliminary materiality, I don't think you always want it to change, because you're doing your planning, you calculate your materiality at a specific point in time, and then that should be fixed. It should not change. For your final, of course, towards the end of your audit, you will look at your final balances and then change, if needed, your final materiality. So that should be real time. And that's why we designed it in this way. So what we expect the user to do, let's say you want to use gross revenues, you just type it in for your preliminary amount, and that means it will never change, and it will always show in your documentation that based on this preliminary gross revenue, you've made your materiality decision. So let's say that could be 2% or 5%. That would give us a possible materiality of 28,000. Now, this is of course very basic calculation. What we then expect the user to do is to key in this materiality amount in the preliminary materiality. I'm just going to go with 50,000. And we of course could have made this more automated, but we want this to be a clear decision of the user, so that's why we made this an input field. And then after that you have the comment, so that's probably very important to also comment why this materiality is relevant for this particular client. Now, just to show you a more completed file as we continue on, I will also key in the final materiality, but that's something that you would usually do towards the end of your audit. So this is just to show you a more complete demo file as we move through this file. Then we get to the performance materiality, which is usually between 60 or 70% of your overall materiality. Your firm might have a specific rule or specific standards requirements for that. So again, we left it very open, we left it very flexible, and you can just go in and document the amount that you want to use for your preliminary performance materiality. And let me also do my final performance materiality. So that's just, again, that's a user decision. Now, where I think it gets more interesting is what we call the adjusted performance materiality levels. You can use this if there's a specific financial statement area, a specific class of transaction or account balance for which you want to use a smaller materiality. So I can click on this button. That will give me a list of all the possible financial statement areas of your engagement, and you can now pick one. So I'm going to go with prepayments, and I'm going to say for prepayments we have an adjusted performance materiality that's a lot smaller. That's 5,000. Cannot come up with an example right now from an audit point of view, but let's say this is a high risk area or something, or something that needs to be disclosed. So we have a smaller adjusted performance materiality. and I will show you later on how that flows throughout all the different forms. Then towards the bottom we also have a specific materiality, which is slightly different from the adjusted performance materiality. This is all manual, so you can just insert, sorry, that's the wrong one. You can just insert new lines and I can document any specific materialities if I need to. Oh, and of course that reminds me that for this adjusted performance materiality I can insert new lines as well, so I can just create as many as I want to. Okay, then here we have the trivial misstatements. That's the amount that sorry about that, any misstatement smaller than this amount should not even be documented. So let's say I'm going to go with 2,000 euros in my example. Okay, that's the materiality. When I'm done with that, I can just click my home button and that will take me back to the working papers document manager or the dashboard.